Good morning, or actually good afternoon. Time flies. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is David Talbot, Managing Director, Head of Research at Red Cloud Securities, and I'm thrilled to host Red Cloud's timely webinar on silver today. We will be hearing from Silver Tiger Management, Glenn Jessom, CEO. During today's webinar, Glenn will provide an overview and outlook of Silver Tiger. Then we'll take some questions. You can type your questions into the chat box at any time during this presentation, and we will get to as many as we can. But first, before we kick things off, we need to discuss the fine print. During the Silver Tiger webinar, forward-looking statements may be made. I would urge listeners to look to the forward-looking statements outlined on page 2 of the corporate presentation. That can be found on the company's website, silvertigermetals.com. For Red Cloud Securities, I highlight that this webinar is for information purposes only. It should not be considered a solicitation or a recommendation to buy or sell securities. We note that this call does not consider the particular situation or needs of particular investors. Participants should rely on their own investigation and seek their own professional advice before investing. Please note our most recent research located on the Red Cloud website for specific disclosures on Silver Tiger. But before Glenn steps up here, I'd like to say a couple words. Silver is obviously a hot topic right now. We put out a report yesterday asking if the silver squeeze would succeed. And today, some of the luster seems to be fading in the market. Silver prices are off from their 8-year high of $30 an ounce and currently trading below $27. The mood has certainly changed on Wall Street bets on Reddit, and the COMEX has reduced margin requirements, so the shorts aren't necessary for some. Now, we don't necessarily see this pullback as a bad thing. Perhaps slowing down the chaos now means we won't go through months of correction. We had warned yesterday that non-fundamental buying of either silver or silver equities just wasn't sustainable. I did see a quote from my former boss, David Hartwell, chairman of Franco-Nevada. He told S&P Market Intelligence that the Reddit-driven silver craze would be non-productive and that it would go against value-driven investment philosophy. His whole life focused on trying to find good mining properties, invest in those good properties, and then build them. So people forget why you want to buy silver. We look at the gold-silver ratio and the silver market supply-demand fundamentals here at Red Cloud. The gold-silver ratio is currently at around 65, about half of its 20-year high, which came earlier last year before gold moved. And that 2020 silver rally also corresponded with a copper rally, and we could be seeing that now again. Long term, we believe this should be closer to 80. This isn't necessarily a diss on silver. We are calling for $25 long term, close to where we are now. But it's more a commentary on that we do expect a higher gold price as well, towards $2,000 an ounce versus its current $1,833 per ounce, which is down $27 today. Keep in mind, silver is a smaller market. Changes can have a large impact. The entire silver market it was worth $30 billion not too long ago, might even be closer to $45 billion now, versus a gold market worth closer to $300 billion and a copper market of $130 billion. Silver relative to copper, I think, is just as important as silver relative to gold. Silver is unique. It's a precious metal and an industrial metal, so there is good correlation between silver and copper prices. If you look at the 10-year weekly R-squared between gold and silver, it's relatively statistically insignificant at about 50%, but it's about 65% correlation with copper. And then you've got mine production. The majority of gold production comes from gold mines, whereas the majority of silver production is via byproduct production. The largest driver of silver mine comes from zinc mining, which at 35%, primary silver mines at 30%, copper mines at 20%, and then gold mines at 15%. And as base metal production declines, expect silver production to be under pressure as well. And right now, declining copper mine production is driving copper. That should also drive silver. Then you've got physical demand and substitution. What is important here is that when the gold and silver prices rise, jewelry consumption often falls. 45% of physical gold demand is from jewelry, whereas only 27% of silver demand is from jewelry. There isn't that much pressure from retail. Not to mention that those that once bought gold now may look to silver because it's cheaper. Silver use in industry isn't as elastic due to its electrochemical properties, and that substitutes would be gold, platinum, and palladium, which are just more expensive. And then finally, the investment demand. Gold has a very strong negative sensitivity to changes in real interest rates. Gold price support is based on lower real interest rates. So all of this attention today makes perfect time to talk about Silver Tiger. We said in our silver report yesterday that investors should pay attention to better companies, better assets, and higher liquidity. And Silver Tiger was our top pick. Things look even better today as a new high-grade discovery, unlike anything we've seen on the property. And with that, I will finally turn it over to Glenn Jessam to update our audience on Silver Tiger. Please take it away.
Thank you, David, very much for your words there. What I see, and would add only to that, is we've been in the silver mining game here at Halifax for 25 years, and what we've seen change a little bit with silver is I add a third component, and precious for sure, industrial. We're really seeing the pull as an inframetal. Even becoming more towards a battery metal. We haven't seen that in our 25 years of mining. I think that is something in the long run over the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years more that's going to be something to become much more important for silver. You see some of the work that Sony's doing with their cathodes on their new generation of batteries and the uses of silver. We know what Biden's going to do with solar power, etc. So exciting times ahead. A business partner of mine always said, our motto here in Halifax, we've been in Mexico for 25 years mining, and his line is, you know why we never miss the silver market when it's up, Glenn? I said, no, why? He said, because we never leave it. And really, that's what we're experts in. I think also one component when we said it's about the project, it's about the jurisdiction, it's about the results, it's always about management. Track record in jurisdiction. I always, when I invest, look at that management team and I ask a couple of questions. The first one is, how long have they been in that jurisdiction, not running all over the world, chasing whatever's hot? We've been in Mexico only for 25 years. How many mines have they built? And I repeat it, we have built 3 over our 25 years, large silver mines in Mexico. And kind of a secondary part to that same question is, have they developed any and sold them to majors? We've developed 2. The last one, our silver project, Sancho Gratuitous, our group, sold that to Agnico Eagle, and I think you all know who that is. So management is very important. Jurisdiction, expertise in that jurisdiction, 25 years for us, because without that, you, number one, don't have the asset, you can't identify the right one, and you can't exploit it. So let's just jump into the presentation. I'm going to see if I can share my screen. I think I'll be able to tell if it works. Let's see what happens here. Technology. Well, that looks like it's worked. I'm going to be, thank you, David. I think I'm going to be a little bit, I better give a little update. I don't know how many people are on. I can't see them. And I'm sure that someone will you have heard this before through Red Cloud. So I won't belabor the point, but I think a little introduction on who we are, where we are, and then really, since we've been back on the mountain exploring since September, some of the amazing things that the technical team have found and put forward. I think the first slide I'll go to is where we are in Mexico. We're in Sonora. You can see that on the map here. We built mines, our group, out of Halifax, in Chihuahua, in Durango. We happen to be in Sonora. This is a wonderful mining jurisdiction. Mining in Mexico is very mature, and in some ways even more sophisticated and forward than even Canada. The Spanish started mining gold and silver there centuries and centuries before anything ever came out of the ground in the United States or Canada. So we have all that sort of long history, and Sonora is probably, in our book, the strongest. We've got to be careful what we say, but one of the strongest states for sure for mining, and we're 80 kilometers from the U.S. border. 2017, we were very fortunate that this technical team identified an asset that we had to acquire in Silver Tiger. You're looking at it there. That is a very big land package in the Sierra Madre. That's 35 kilometers. It's 30,000 hectares, 25 kilometers of the Sierra Madre go through it. This became available. We had we still have some wonderful partners in Edmonton. They were the major shareholders of this company. They did an amazing job of putting this asset back together. We'll talk about why it was put back together in a bit, this land package. Everything inside that gold box you see, that's our mineral concessions, 30,000 hectares, big land package. The major shareholders of the company called El Tigre Silver raised some good money, put it back together, did the first research, and really then it was just a perfect match in 17 for us to acquire that public company. Full disclosure, my job really for our group that have been doing and building all these mines in New Mexico is I build public companies. I built Silver Tiger. I'm a securities lawyer, work only with the TSX and TSX Venture Exchange. Very proud to be on the National Advisory Committee for the Venture Exchange. For a decade, we've been doing very good, sound, ethical deals. And, you know, I use that skill set to buy the public company El Tigre Silver. We paid $11 million for it. It was a stock deal at the time. It's 2017. All those who follow silver, we never leave the space. We know that was tough times, but very pleased that most of those shareholders, a lot of them were based out of Edmonton, the major group. They're with us still, and they're all, if not in the money, pretty close on all their investments. So, and the future is bright. So good to have them aboard. Glad we acquired this business. Why did we acquire it? I'm going to tell you exactly why we acquired it. We're garbage men. Now, you may not, that's not, and we're proud of that. That little blue line I just drew there was the old El Tigre mine. That's why the technical team in 17 called me to Hermosillo, 2 hours south, city of a million, where our technical team has been based for 25 years. And they said, Len, we need it because of the old El Tigre mine. The old El Tigre mine, 1908 to 1930, big U.S. mine, delivered 100 million silver equivalent ounces at an average grade of 2 kilograms per ton of silver. All of our mines we find, all of our exploration, all of our ones we developed and sold to majors have been found under and on the head claims of both Spanish or usually American foreign-owned mines in Mexico, full stop. It's really what all new discovery in Mexico is. We'll talk about some of our friends to the south that we're being compared to in a moment, but you know, we all start around a head frame of an old mine. This one was special in that we'd never seen one with this kind of grade. This is what we called a super hot spot. And because of that, that's why we had to acquire this project. We'll talk about that a bit more. But one thing that my technical team, when I sat with them in 17 and they told me we needed to have it, they said it was a high-grade underground silver mine, but there was a halo of gold mineralization, they told me, around all the veins. And these veins, they said, continue for 10, 15 kilometers on our land package either way. It's this halo of gold mineralization from surface, amenable to bulk tonnage mining. They told me they'd drill off a pit in the first year, give you 1 million ounces, and a bulk tonnage 43,101. They did that. But they also said just to the north, we see the next clavos. You have to understand, if you're really talking about discovery or building mines in Mexico, a mine that we built, our group out of Halifax, was the Ocampo mine, still in production today, 26 years later. It was a 10 million ounce deposit, but there wasn't just one big pit and one big underground. Ore shoots, we call them clavos in Mexico, would occur along the trend. We think that we're going to see many of them along this district-style project. I'll show you some of that at the end. The first one, of course, was the old mine. We'll talk more about that. We think we see the second one forming just to the north. So far, so good. Some fantastic drill results. We'll go talk about that in a minute. Tick the boxes quickly before we move on. And I'll explain why these assets were here. And I'll talk about one of our neighbors because it was very similar why they were here. Look, no ejido, no native peoples. We hadn't had a project like that. All ranch land. We have agreements to explore all of it. 2 years ago or so, when there was a press release that I bought the middle 6,200 hectares of land from a rancher who was willing to sell it for $1.1 million. That should have been a good indication of the market that our team made the decision at that point this would be an economic deposit. More paperwork to do, but we've made that call multiple times in building mines, and that's where we are very certain that this is heading. We drive right to the mountain, which is wonderful for our access. We come up 2 hours on this highway that continues the U.S., 80 kilometers from the U.S. border. We drive right to the mountain. We have power. Serendipity runs through the project, not for us, for Nacosari, a big smelter for the big copper mines that are the west of us. You'll see those as I spin the map. A couple of other things that were really nice about it, especially one, was that lots of water on site. I forgot to say that for exploration. For down the road, we're only about 20 kilometers from the Angostura Dam. Lots of water when we get to and commercialization here. One thing that was wonderful that the El Tigre team that I bought the public company did is when they cleaned the land package up, they did such a beautiful job. They bought out all of the concession holders. Usually when these things go back, there are underlying concession holders, usually Mexican people, and they're all granted to get access to those concessions, a royalty. We see stuff all the time where there's a 6, 7, sometimes a 10% royalty in place. It's just not economic. Here, they bought all of those royalties out, put this together beautifully consolidated. We still have the full royalty at our disposal. It's very important. When we sold Santa Cruz to Agnico a couple of years ago, we ended up in the end selling the royalty that we had left for 20 million USD. So very valuable asset to still have attached to this, and very pleased to have it. We're going to spin around here, and we're going to spin the map, and we're going to look south. And we've come a long way. I just want to tell you what our team is capable of. I think most people know us, but this is worth the minute. 2015, in another company in our group, I was called to Mexico to negotiate the purchase for our group of another public company, Animus. They thought they had a pretty good moly deposit. We thought it was a gold deposit. We bought that public company just like this one. We delisted it. We took the asset. We spent $9 million USD on it. We drilled off a 1 million ounce resource with pre-fees. 2 years later, after owning it, we sold it to Agnico. All in, the team made 120 million USD. The point about that is that's what we're capable of in Mexico. That's not easy to do. And the same technical team that are driving that are the same team that's driving El Tigre. Look, we've got a lot of analyst coverage on us. You can go find it out there. If anyone wants it, they can email me and I could give it. We're covered by Red Cloud, of course, launched early, Sprott, Beacon, Stifel, Echelon. We have research notes out from BMO. We will be attending the BMO show this year, our first time we've been invited. So that's really impressive for us. Means you're moving up the food chain pretty quickly. But one thing a lot you'll see in this analyst coverage is that we're the next cheese pop, the next Silvercrest. Look, Eric Fear has a market cap of a couple of $2 billion. We're 130 or 40. When we acquired it, we knew it was a low sulfidation epithermal system, just like that. But the similarities are the following. We are all garbage men. Remember I said that, finding things in Mexico. Cheesepal was a high-grade silver mine, foreign-owned, Swiss, I think, 1900 to 1930. And 1930 came, just like at the Tiger, 95 kilometers north. And everybody in Sonora went home, all the foreign owners. Silver went from $1.33, the Great Depression came, and it went to less than 20 cents. These were uneconomic. And it just abruptly stopped. Those mines were just walked away from. 80 years later, you know what Mr. Fear did. Incredible. Silvercrest, everybody knows that story. He 1,400 hectares, I think, roughly he had. Don't quote me on that. Smaller project, beautiful mine. He drilled off what the old-timers left, and it's been a home run. We're just getting going on that, and we're going to show you some of the things we're doing because the old-timers left us a lot. We have a much bigger land package, district style, and I'll talk about some of the greenfields things we'll get to in the next year, 5 years, 10 years. It's a big project. I do want to talk geology because, you have to understand that a little bit if you're going to invest in Mexico. This is just loading. Just take a second here. That's a low sulfidation epithermal system. Why I'm showing you this, I'm not a geologist. I'm not going to try to impress you with my knowledge of rocks, but this is what our team has been working on for 25 years. It's always the same. When you find these in Mexico, this is usually what they are. And usually when you find them, they're big. What you're looking at here is really the 5 or 6 kilometers right in the middle of our concessions. goes for 12, 15 each way. We'll talk about that near the end. But what you have is an upper volcanic, a lower volcanic. It's always that transition zone in between that is very, very important because that's where these veins, this epithermal system basically is, where you can exploit the veins. In our case, a little different, and I'm going to rotate this so you see it. Real simple, geology. That layer that goes between upper, top of the mountain, lower down part of the mountain, is about 100, 150 meters wide, that beautiful yellow rock. And so what we have there, and that's that gold alteration. We have these super high-grade veins, and we have an alteration zone all from surface in the first layer. There are many layers. We're going to talk about several of them today as we go deep underground. That's really where we've done a lot of our drilling. It was why we were able to, in the first pass, drill off an open pit 1,000,000 ounces with our eyes closed. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I think it's important, before we go on and talk about some of the results and some of the things we did, that you understand why the garbage men love this old mine and saw what came out of it. 100 million silver equivalent ounces at 2 kilos. Can you imagine that? If you found that today? Well, we're trying to find that, and we're also grabbing what they didn't take on their first pass of underground mining back at the turn of the 1900s. There's the mine, big American mine, 1,600 meters. They went down 450 meters. As you can see, the 16 levels, that was over only on the LT grade vein in the middle. And when they got to 450, they went home. 1930 came. Everybody went home. These sat pretty well untouched for 80 years, just like Cheese Spot to the south of us. What's impressive about this old mine and why we were able to build it is we found that all of the underground mining records ended up in the University of Wyoming in the museum there. When we got this in 17, we got every stope map for every level, right down to the bottom of the 3 mines, veins that were mined every 5 meters. We digitized it. We built this model. So if you're going to look for more LT grade or another LT grade, you better understand what made the first one tick. Our team are very good miners. They're very good at mining data. Always a key. Take what you were given. That was tens and tens of millions of dollars of information about this district and this deposit that we got in a couple of weeks at the University of Wyoming. This is impressive, and you're really going to see the power of this old mine and what they left us. The black is the stopes. That's what the old timers took. I'm going to go plan view, and you can see the 3 veins they mined. You can see the stopes disappear, ½ meter to a meter. It was super high grade, higher grade than we've ever seen in Mexico, and we've seen a lot of mines as we looked for around for our next deposits. There was the Tiger vein, which continues north for 2 or 3 kilometers. We'll talk about that where we're drilling it north. The Sites Kelly vein came here, and they came together. This was all kilo stuff they went after. In here, it was that first Clavos, which goes for 1 kilometer. We have a drill hole almost at 1 kilometer underneath it. We'll get under that 450. We're focused on the upper parts of the deposit right now. We'll talk about. But in that Clavos where it formed that ore shoot, 10, 20, 30, 50 kilograms per ton silver. Incredible grade. And tenor of grade is always important in districts. We found that as we've developed some of the largest ones. As you go found and find the next and the next and the next, it tends to hold up for grade. Now, I'm not going to say we're going to have everything 50 kilos, but that happened right there. And there's lots of this that the old timers didn't take. What we knew, before we talk about the other veins, is we knew, and I'm going to turn it on, that around this ½ meter to a meter vein was a beautiful from surface. Remember that yellow rock, that layer, and I'm going to rotate this so you'll see it. There it is. That's 1 million ounces of gold. We got that. I think it's better to show you on the next slide. We drilled 12,000 meters in that. We bought 10,000 meters from our friends LT Gray Silver. You can see those drill holes all in the top 100 meters. Vein was gone. We only drilled the Tiger vein, the middle one, the LT Gray. And that's a beautiful starter pit up on a gram. Going to get way better first pass. We stopped drilling on that because we had to get to the north. And when you see what we're seeing up there, you'll understand that. But we've come screaming back to the old mine, and I'll tell you about some of the results we had there today. Remember on this Tiger vein, the LT Gray, they went to 450 meters. Sites Kelly, they only went to 200 meters. We didn't put a drill hole in that. We'll come back and get that halo. We can't wait to get the first drill holes down underneath that. Remember, we think, and we're pretty correct in thinking that this system all along the trend goes to great depth of a kilometer or more. This is kind of the prize right now, and what you're going to hear a lot about, the Sui sites. Kelly, we'll get to that one later in the year. We just came out with our first drill hole, and I'm going to leave it for later to show you what we did. But what we really looked at when we saw the records was that this vein, the Western, that's where they stopped, 1930 ton, 250 meters or so they went along strike, and they only went down 8 levels, not 16, like in the Tiger, about 150 meters. But the other thing they did was we've now mapped that vein, goes for another 1.5 kilometers. We put a hole 500 meters south of the mine, a couple of meters of 10 grams per ton gold. They never touched this. This is going to become a high priority, especially when I explain what we put out. I think it was this morning. It seems like it was yesterday, but I think it was this morning. It's been a long day, and we'll get to that. This was another game changer for the company today. Full stop. And that's not me saying that. That's my technical team that have been doing this for 25 years in Mexico, that have built 3 mines and sold some to Agnico they've developed. So we'll get back to that. Hold that until we come back to the Sui. You'll see that we're only part the way done. We're going to go ounces are going to go way up there. You're going to basically see the grade go up, cut off, go up. You're going to see, look, we've been successful in Mexico doing 2 things. And it isn't a good drill hole and a good drill hole. It's drilling off ounces and moving them to economics. That's all we think about. Everything we do on that mountain is targeted for that. That's how you win. You always win. That's what you do to build a mine, and or corporates don't buy drill holes. They buy ounces that have economics already on them. We'll move to that. It may not be the end of this year. Early next year, you'll see the next resource estimate for the Tiger. The first PEA will come out. We're already turning our attention to that. So stay tuned for that. Second half of next year, you'll be getting more updates. That's all wonderful. We're going to come back to it. Let's talk about what we did in the fall. We had an amazing fall on the mountain. And what we were doing, and I think what we've got to do is go look at the map so I can bring everybody around to what we focused on for the last several months. Excuse me. You kind of know what we did at the old mine. Get in there. Beautiful first 1,000,000 ounces. We only drilled, better color here, this blue one, I think. We only drilled the Tiger, and that was there. We're going to get back. The sites, Kelly, they only went to 200 meters. We went down here. The one that's getting really exciting in a real hurry is the Sui. You can see it on this old map. It doesn't show that it continues all the way for 1.5 kilometers to the south. They mined a little here. Our first drill holes underneath that. They couldn't have been better. It just couldn't have been. That's coming, partially done, but all fall we were up here. Why we're up here? Well, look, it's the same veins, and they're continuing north. Tiger, Sui continuing, different names. But as you see, what happened here to form this clavos, we saw happening up here. Those veins came together in that yellow El Tigre structure. So we drilled our first test holes in this in 18. You saw some of the results, or maybe you didn't, but we'll show you some in a minute. We were getting a meter at 10 kilos, 7.3 of that real silver, 20, 30 meters from surface, in that wide gold alteration zone from surface. Fantastic stuff. Why we loved it and we knew we were onto it, that's exactly what the old timers were mining down here. I think the next slide really shows the continuation of these veins underground. The old mine, 1.6 kilometers, just scratching the surface around that. We're gonna get back to that and talk about it a little bit more at the end. 3 kilometers north, same veins, just coming up. And what you saw here is 4 of them came together. We think it's the next clavos, more to be proven. So far, so good. We're drilling usually with 1 shot from the surface up here, 2 holes. Let's go look at, so you understand how we're exploring that new evolving clavos to the north. Then we'll talk about all the new discovery that's really jumped ahead of that in the excitement meter in the last couple of weeks. That's what it looks like. You're 2 kilometers north where those veins came together, north of where the mining ended at the old mine. You can see it. It's the El Tigre. You got to start thinking about the layers here too. That's the first 100 to 150 meters. Then we have the cliff, then the flat tabular. And, this system goes for 1 kilometer. The veins tighten up when they get down in this, or so we thought until the last drill hole. And all of our drilling, really until the last month, has been in this upper layer. Why would you not? You walk on a gold mineralization zone, you can sample from surface. You have super high-grade intact veins, 80% silver. Remember, what disseminates out like at the old mine is just really the gold comes outside the silver veins for up to, we drilled stuff to the old mine up to 120 meters, 60, 70 meters on each side of the vein. It's starting to come together up here. This is how we explore. 2 kilometers north approximately, you start drilling drill holes. You can see these are very close to veins. Many of these drill holes are piercing 2 veins. And you can see how we report it. And what you see, there's our discovery hole in the Cayley vein, 18, that we followed up on. A meter of 10 kilos, 7.3 of it silver. You can see what we're starting to see, though, because there's 2 components. We have 2 types of deposit here. We have a high-grade silver vein and a gold dissemination halo, just like at the old mine, 2 kilometers to the south. So when we report a hole, let's use this one as an example, 26 meters, beautiful stuff for miners, of a couple of grams gold, and then the heart of that vein, almost a meter of 3.7 kilos silver, most of it silver. What we're doing here is kind of the old LT grade mine was backwards for us. They took all the high grade out of the vein. We came and drilled only 100 meters from surface, and we took the halo. Up here, we're going to delineate before we go underground the halo with the vein in it. Pretty simple exploration, not rocket science. We just step out to the north. That's the next section, 25 meters, and basically we go from there. So you can see that basically that's what we're seeing up here. We're business as usual on the Cayley Protectora. Near the end of the program, and you'll see more of those results coming, there's not going to be one big 1 million ounce pit or 2 million ounce pit. As you go on the trend and you find these clavos, you delineate small pits down about 100 meters, take all of that ore out, the gold zone, and then you go underground for 700, 800, 900 meters, because when it gets in these other formations, it usually tightens up until the last drill hole we put out today, which has a scratch in our heads. Let's go back up here, and we talk about the 2 new discoveries that have been really press released in the last 2 weeks, and I'll tell you how these things happen. We told everybody, and probably on the last presentation I told everybody last summer, or when we first get back on the mountain. Remember, we were off for COVID. July, we come back. Rainy season, I told, we're not drilling. We're going to lock down our camp. We own all the land. It's pretty easy to have a bubble. You know, we got 70, 80 people up there every day running 3 drills. Let's get our medical staff in. Let's get everybody tested on the way in. It's been fantastic. No issues. That's because we're able to have a bubble because we own the land. There's no native peoples. There's no towns around us. It's wonderful. We drive right to that thing. September 15th, the first drill came on. And that really got at what we wanted to test right off the bat. Let's get in here and let's get a bunch of drill holes. But that and the second one, you've seen them be released. That's that 2 kilometers. You can see the holes. You can see how we're drilling, you know, these veins and delineating the high grade veins. Pretty easy to see it. It's in that beautiful yellow rock. So the third drill, that was October 15th, second drill. Third drill, November 15th started. Well, the technical team that have been doing this for 25 years, they said, okay, we got about 3 weeks before we shut down for Christmas. Christmas comes December 10th. The mountain usually shuts down for 1 full month, big Christian country, and it's a big Christmas celebration in Mexico, and that's normal for all drillers on the mountains. They wanted that third drill. They thought they'd seen something, and I'm glad I gave it to them. You're now almost into December. The boys wanted to test. They saw a fault here that this was not visible at surface. Everything we see, we walk on all this. We see all this. It's at surface. The old time, there's exploration adds in it. This one was covered. There's no exploration adds, but they thought because they are discoverers for 25 years, there was a vein there. They wanted to drill 3 holes. So I gave them drill number 3, and they went and drilled 3 holes. We didn't get assays back until January, but they knew when they saw those 3 holes in the core box that they had a discovery. Pretty happy that I let them do it. That was press released a little over a week ago. Those are the first holes on the Benjamin vein. We don't say new discovery lightly. We've been up here 3 or 4 years, 3 years or more now. We've had 2 new discoveries. The Cayley vein was one the old timers didn't find. That's named after my daughter. That's the meter of 10 kilos. I think it was 40 meters from surface. All of those holes in those other sections of the Cayley Protector are in the top 75 meters from surface. This one's named after my son, Benjamin. He's a 14-year-old lad, and it's a beautiful new discovery. It's not a game changer. What we're going to talk about next is a game changer, and that's not my words. That's our team's. This is a beautiful vein. It was underground. Nobody knew it was there. This is quite deeper in the system. Remember I said we had the layers. And why it is it's not rocket science. This is about 900 meters north of the mine. I showed it to you on the map. The LT grade, that first 150, as you got down the slope, it's gone. It's eroded away, or it wasn't there. So really, you're setting up your drill, even though they're only 200-meter holes, you're setting it up in the next layer down, the cliff. And I just want to show you that. I think it's important you understand the layers here. Always the tiger first, 150 meters. The cliff is usually 50, 75. This is much wider. This is hundreds of meters, but it's squished up. And then the tabular goes for hundreds and hundreds of meters. But what we really got here was one of our first holes deeper in the system. We know the system goes deep. The old timers came through the Tiger vein for the first 150 meters at the vein of the mine just south of us. They just wanted the quartz vein. And then they went 350 more meters right through all this, chasing the quartz veins. So we know the system is deep. They went for half a kilometer. We have drill holes almost at a kilometer. And all of these big systems, our Ocampo, most of our underground mining is 1.2 kilometers underground. But this is the first deep holes, and boy, exciting. I mean, 3 meters of 1.3 kilos. This is 3 holes. Every one of these holes had wonderful mineralization, but the second one they drilled, that almost 6 meters of 750 grams, beautiful stuff. What we really like about this is it's got some length. You can see it here, and you can see where we were up here, where I just showed you the first cross sections, 2 kilometers. Now we're down here, 500-600 kilometers further south, north of the end of the mine where that ended. And it's about 600 meters, we're guessing now, and it's pretty simple what we're doing here. We put one drill there. It's demanded it. It's really, that's a new discovery. And our drill is, one of the drills is just stepping out 25 meters south and north. And it's going to test this thing and really see what we've got. We'll find out. Is it 100? Is it 200,000 ounces? What is it? Drilling and time will determine it. A beautiful new discovery. Very interesting that it's in the flat formation underground, but not a game changer. The next thing that happened, and it goes back to December also, it's press release now, so I can talk about it, was the explorers, I call them, my technical team, led by a gentleman named Ramon Luna, Jose Carlos in Mexico, been with us for 25 years. They wanted one more hole. They knew after they put the first 3 here, they had a new discovery, and they were moving on. No assays, they just have to see it in the box. And what they wanted was, now we're down around the old mine. And this is what was press release today, and this is very important. And I want people to pay attention. This is a game changer for this company. And it's not, I didn't say that, my technical team said that the night we saw the results a week or more ago. But if you look at some of the smart analysts, they've all recognized what this is and what it could mean. Totally new type of mineralization. And if we're right, it's going to prove to be very large. This was, as I told you, you can see the black on this. This is the old mine. We drilled up 1 million ounces there with our eyes closed. The black is what the old timers mined out, full stop. You can see that on the Tiger, they mined quite a bit of it. They went for 1.5 kilometers all the way along strike, and they went 450 meters. That was a super, super high-grade vein. The down dip on that is still there. We know it goes for another half a kilometer from there. We'll get to that. But really, what we really are going to pay attention to, same with the sites, Kelly. You only mind that to about here, still here, only went 200 meters. We'll get under that at some point. But the guys really wanted to come to the Sui. You'll hear lots about the Sui vein and the flat formation going forward. You can see that this wasn't really, as we did our work through the fall, that wasn't on last year's map. We traced that vein unmined, untouched by the old timers, for another kilometer almost to the south from surface, and the same really going to the north. But here's where the old timers, where we had the records. That's about 250, 300 meters. They went a long strike, maybe a bit more, but they only went down 8 levels. 1930 came, they went home. We had all the records from the underground mine stopes. Remember, I told you those. Every 5 meters from level 8. And it was telling us that they were mining super high-grade, multi-kilo stuff down there. So, we had a theory, and the team wanted one more drill hole. They actually didn't go home on the 10th of December. They really wanted to drill this hole. They stayed until the 19th, which is unheard of. The other 2 drills were all done by the 10th. And they drilled the hole. You can see where. Now, they would have drilled it, think about this, from here to the east, underneath. Let me get a little color on here. Underneath, and what they were trying to do was just get down just underneath a depth of 150 meters where the old timers stopped. So let's go look at the section, because it really tricked us. This is something very, very, very new. And you can see the hole. It's easy. The old timers, we know, on the Sui, they only went to 150 meters, 8 levels. So let's say they came down and all they wanted was that half meter, that quartz vein. They wanted nothing else. They didn't want Tiger. They wanted nothing out here. That's all they mined for the whole mine. So we said, okay, they've come down here. We've got the records. Let's just drill just underneath that, and we should pick up that 2.5 meter Sui vein. That's what the team did. I didn't say that. I should say they said that. That's what they wanted to test with the last hole of December. We got down to that depth, and you can see we didn't think so at first. We actually did not go quite deep enough. We think we need a couple more feet. We cut through where the vein we thought should be, and there was a working there. That means that we weren't quite deep enough. So the old timers, maybe they took it to here, if you understand. This is the quartz vein. But here's where the technical team just, this is why I think they're the best in the business. Been doing this for a long time, a lot of mines, a lot of discoveries. They let the drill go past the footwall, and we all know what the footwall is. As you get outside this quartz vein, the mineralization decreases, and that's the footwall, and then it stops. And they started to drill into dead rock, nothing. And the beautiful thing they did, though, was they let the drill, because once in a while, you just want to see what's down there. They let that drill go another 50 or 60 meters. And after 12 meters of the dead rock, we plowed right into this. We really thought in the beginning that maybe this was an old haulage way from the mine, and we'd hit the Sui vein just for a short period of time, and it was really wide. But the minute we looked at this mineralization, it's not vein. It's all we can say is it's, and I'm going to use the lay terms. I'm not the geologist. It is wonderful, wonderful, highly mineralized rock. And look at the width and look at the grade. 12 meters of almost 700 grams. Go look at the press release. 22 meters. That is very valuable rock of almost 400 grams per ton silver. We look at it, and this is how it's been explained to me, and I'll explain it to the lay people here. Almost like a total new type of mineralization. There is so much work done on this old mine. Papers, but all they talk about is what they mined. High grade, meter, half meter quartz vein. This is not a quartz vein. It's almost, and it's not an alteration zone around the vein like the LT gray. We're at the top here. We get 50, 60 meters of the gold coming outside the vein. It's a total new type of mineralization, wide, and almost what we think, almost like a sponge that's just sucked. As you got to remember, these epithermal events, these fluids came, all these minerals came. Many times they were deposited in the quartz vein. And of course, some disseminated in the LT grade. This is a type of rock we're now seeing that really absorbed all of this high-grade material. Not a vein, much to be done. Our geologists are working on it now. But the minute we saw it, our team knew it was something important with the quartz vein, with all the things in it. And we'll get more description out as we go. So, what we started to do was to try to intercept this vein underneath the workings. And we found this. So now we got 2 targets. Rest assured, our next hole will be just a little deeper. And then we'll step towards me, if the screen I'm writing on, towards south, north. And of course, we'll go above it. What we expect we're going to see as we do go below it is we just missed this quartz vein. So we do expect when we put the next results out, we're hoping, and we've got, I think, 2 or 3 holes done on that. 2 drills immediately came to this when we saw the result. Immediately have been put here, banging out core. You're going to see, we hope, if it's a little deeper, just say 10 feet, 20 feet, You're going to nail that Sui vein, which should be that super high-grade vein the old timers went after, quartz vein. You should come through that hanging wall dead rock, and then we're hoping we start to plow. I'm confident we will into this wide zone. We just need to find out how big this is. This is a total game changer for the company because you've got to remember we have all kinds of quartz veins they left. We have all kinds of dissemination of gold into the LT gray. We know these quartz veins go for 1 kilometer, but now we're seeing something very new, large potential, high-grade, wide zones, mineralized zones outside of what's ever been considered LT gray. Why is that important? Because on this plan map, let me just show you, from one end of it to the other, these layers continue. The tiger, the cliff, the flat, and then the tabular. And so when we just 1.2 kilometers, let me go back to the map and show you that. It might be a little simpler. There's so much of this material that was never a target. Why wasn't it a target? That's important. The old timers cared nothing about this. They cared just about that quartz vein. They would have went right by even through that, wouldn't even have paid any attention to it. So that's never been looked for. Brand new mineralization, very exciting. Let's go back to the map, and I think this will really bring it all together. Yeah, this is the one here. So really what we're starting to see is across, let's just use, it goes further, but let's just use this 5 or 6 kilometers we're talking about. When you start here and you go all the way to the end of the mine, you're looking at plan view, you're looking down. Remember, we drilled in the flat formation here, the new discovery on the Benjamin. You saw that, 3 meters, 1.5 kilos. We just drilled here, there's 1.2 kilometers between them in the flat. What we just saw, this sponge-like big mineralized zone. But I'm going to go back and I'm just going to try to pick the best one to use to show you. And I think it's going to be probably this one. But that is a small cross-section of what this entire length of that 5.67 kilometers looks like. We're working on that long section to show it now. It's just that LT gray at the top, and then it's the cliff, 50, 75 meters. The flat shrunk up here to get on, which in the proper picture should look, there's proper sizes. This goes for 5 or 6 kilometers. So this new flat formation, wow, exciting for the team. You know, our team are using the word game changer. It really is. We knew we had quartz veins. We knew we could go underground. We knew we had these quartz veins from surface, open pit bulk tonnage. This is something that could really get exciting here, and we can't wait to get a bunch of holes in it and start to deliver those here down the road. So the last slide I'm going to show you, now that we understand some of the very exciting things that have happened and how quickly things can change on the mountain. We went to the mountain as garbage men to buy to look at an old super high grade mine, LT grade. That's what attracted us there. We ended up acquiring a 35 kilometer district. I'm going to blow this up, and I hope I can here. I think I can. Oh, it's not going to blow up on that screen. That's the way this one works when I share it. What you're looking at in the middle, if I can, that's 25 kilometers right there. Okay. We've now done work on those 25 kilometers. I'm going to try to put in perspective to show you, and even though it's very small, because I can't blow it up, there's the old LT Gray mine. That's where we drilled off the 1 million ounces, where we just drilled under that Sui and had that amazing hit. That's the 3 or 4 kilometers to the north. We just discovered the Benjamin. We're drilling the Cayley Protector, delivering those results. Those are the only drill holes over in this district. We got our geology. You can see the veins continue. Same veins continue here for 12 kilometers south. 3 mines, La Mancha, Lluvia, Oro, El Toro. Not as big a mine, same vintage. 1 or 2 levels, drifted in 500 meters, went along the vein for 1 kilometer. We've been in there. High-grade gold and silver. We're working, mapping, and sampling that, getting it ready. Same going north. The old Pilares mine, we've been in it. Look at all these little mine indications here. High-grade gold and silver all throughout. Lower in the system, a lot more base metals. Never had a drill hole, never had a drill hole. And this is the best part. If you remember, I showed you that slide at the beginning where I said it's a layer cake. It's the upper and lower volcanics. Well, you can see this is just the top of the mountain. And what happened was when we got on the other side of the mountain, at our geos about a year or more ago, that whole El Tigre, that beautiful rock that hosts all these veins, had come out on the other side. I didn't own any of this land package. I had to add 6,000 hectares to my land package because when we got there, we found this whole vein set, Santa Maria. The point is we own a district, and my technical team tell me this, Glenn, I'm not that old. You'll be long dead, and they're still going to be drilling off ounces at El Tigre. We believe that. That's what these systems are when you find them. They're 30, 40, 50-year mine life, the Pinos Altos, the Ocampo. And that's really what we think we're onto. But we're going to do this. We're going to tend to our knitting here for the next year or more, right in that what we call the brownfields, the old mine, exploring to the north, see what that thing has and get down underneath it. Great depth, dip down, dip, plus the stuff at surface. But you're going to see the first drill holes with Man Portable HQ, maybe later this year, for sure next year, start to come out of this whole greenfields area. And we think that will get exciting in a hurry. But really what you should be paying attention for, to sum up here before we talk numbers and things like that, is this is where you're going to hear all the information coming. It changes so quickly, and this mountain will continue to do that. It will lead you around. You don't drill the next 10,000 meters, you drill the next 2,000, and it tells you where to go. We put the first 3,000 or 4,000 in here. What great results. See that Clavos, you saw those cross sections, Caeli Protectora from surface, great results, starting to have the halo around them. Keep on doing that. We didn't know that we would discover the Benjamin vein just before Christmas. Multi-wide, multi-kilo hits there. Wonderful stuff. We'll keep going on that. Keep. Only so much drills right now, so one's on here. So you know you're going to get some results coming. And then with the last hole of December, how it changes. Game changer. I went through it with you. Immediately, the second drill has to be here. So right now, you're going to start to see results from, really, it's going to be the Sui vein, if we hit it, like we talked about. But really that wider mineralization zone, I guess it's in the flat formation. We don't have a real name for it yet. We'll probably get one. You'll see some good results here throughout the next quarter or two, and you're going to see more from the Benjamin. I've got to phase another drill back onto the mountain. I said this, I told this story to someone this morning. I think you'll enjoy it. They said, how are the drills going on the mountain? I said, well, they're like cookies. I've only got 3 cookies, and I've got 6 children on the mountain, and they all want a cookie. So it's pretty clear that I need more, since 2 are here and they want 2 here and they need 1 or 2 here. And then they, you know, it's a nice thing having too many high priority targets. So we'll solve that. We'll slowly, as we did, we put a drill on that mountain in September, and then we put the second in October and November. And we'll now start to do that as we go. We need more. Are we going to 10 or 12? Not in a hurry. Can I see us going to 4 or 5 in the shorter term? For sure. And that'll just allow us to move faster here and here. So that's really where we are. I think, you know, we raised money in the summer. We had a large amount of money offered to us by some institutions and Eric Sprott. I took 11 million, which was about less than, I think, a little less than half of what was offered. It was too early to take that much money in that dilution. We had a long downturn for all of the companies from 11, 12 through to 20 to survive to get to this. So, you know, you didn't raise money. We raised $20 million, you know, 17 and 18, about an average 20, 25 cents, so that we could drill off that resource and understand this. So when the market came, but you know, that all takes stock, and that's how you get capital. So, you know, careful with what I'm putting out. I want to protect our shareholders and not dilute too much. So we took that money and we spent it well. You know, we put that first 7,000, 8,000 meters. What we did here, that incredible. What we did here, incredible. In my opinion, this is a game changer. We probably, don't quote me, I haven't asked the CFO, but 5.5, 6 million of that's 11 million still left. We've created great shareholder value. I think we're trading, you know, this crazy market. I think we traded yesterday at 63 cents, about $140 million market cap. That's nice appreciation from where we were in the summer and more than a double. I love the way the stock trades. I didn't expect it would trade, but I think what people have realized is that, and I'll go back to this slide to end up on that, people are starting to say, in a world where there's a dearth, you heard about, there's just not many true silver projects. There never are. But people are starting to say this is the next possibly great silver district. And we're getting recognized with that. And I think visibility, where the banks in Toronto since September were covered by all of them pretty well, that you can be covered by, not all of them, but they're all calling for consensus about $1.30 in the next 12 months. We're moving towards that. But the liquidity is something that I'm not most proud of, but we've traded probably, you saw us, last I looked today, we were 3 million, yesterday 4 million, I forget Friday, a couple of million, but we've traded almost 120 million shares since January. That's fantastic in that, most of it traded, I don't have the stats, but I could say it's 45 to 50 cents. Beautiful putting a floor under the company, because why that is that, I know that the institutions that came in, it was all institutional money. That was the 11 million. Mr. Sprott took 4 million of the 11. 6 institutions, you probably know most of them, took the rest, only precious metal funds. They're there, those 30 million or so shares, and I know they have more because I see them buying crosses in the market all the time. 70, 80 million of the shares are out of Halifax and our friends in Edmonton we bought the company from. I'd have 12, 13 something million with my stock options, paid for it. $2 million. There's no free stock. My management team are in that same grouping, and our long shareholders where we raised that $20 million from in 17, 18. Management team's owned about 13%. So the true float is really about 100 million shares, that as I can guess it, 210 I think we have out or something like that. And that's completely traded at 50 cents. Why that's so important for us is, that's what you need for that next move in value for your shareholders. The next leg up, we like to call it, because with good news, a good market coming at you, then you have that base that believes in it, that are looking for the next return. So very excited. Things could not have gone better since I probably last talked to you, since we got on the mountain, the camp, building a COVID-free bubble camp, phasing 3 drills in, the results of Cayley Protectora, we couldn't have hoped for more. A new discovery of Benjamin, and really this news today is a real game changer for the company. We know that, and I think that you're starting to see people that understand these type of deposits today, analysts, all kind of saying the same thing. So we need more results. We need more drill holes. We're working on those as we speak today, and stay tuned for good and oncoming results. That's where we are with Silver Tiger. I'd love to take any questions. I will leave the presentation up just in case I have to steer to anything during the presentation. So I don't know, David, if we have any questions. I don't even know how you asked them from me.
Yeah, thank you for your great presentation, Glenn. I do really enjoy those interactive displays. It's pictures that are worth more than 1,000 words.
It's the future.
And send them around.
David, I'm just going to
keep our.
Before you just say there, I just want people to understand we're hosted on Verify. Most of you know that. You can just go to verify.com or get the app. But there's so much information. If you're going to buy someone's stock, do your homework. Okay. I told you what you should look at: management team, how long in the jurisdiction, how many mines have they built. You get all that, then you can get comfortable. But I'm just going to show you something here, and I think I can click it if I can, and show people what's in behind some of this Verify stuff. The information is incredible. You can get in there. We have all kinds of, we've got digital drone footage of the entire trend because it's all at surface. You can go underground. There's just so much you can go and see. This is one I love. That's the old mine, 1908 to 1930, big mine, but so much information in there. I really want people to go and get in and do a deep dive into Verify. It's the future of presenting transparently what your asset is. Sorry, David, I just always like to tell people that.
Yeah, no worries. We are at the top of the hour, and we don't have a time limit, but we do want to be responsible with people's time. So let's see if we can get through some of these questions fairly quickly. First of all, Glenn, can you discuss the importance of these recent discoveries, the Benjamin vein and today's unnamed vein? Does their importance go beyond adding ounces?
Well, I think we've gone through that pretty clearly, but I mean, I can point it out again. Maybe that question came in, but you know, unmined part of the vein, the old mine with some mining done, nothing touched the north, same veins. Very important here, the new Clavos Cayley Protector. This is brand new discovery. I showed you, you know, close to surface, we're getting 1.5 meters of 1.3 kilos, 6 meters, 7 meters of 750. This is 600-700 meter long strike length. We're going to drill that off. There are ounces there. Is it 100? Is it 200? We don't know. Beautiful new discovery of a new vein that we will drill ounces on. The next one I do want to point out, though, but we do that. I'm not trying to downplay. That's a nice new discovery. We really think, and people should be paying attention to this, that the press release today, and I got to go back and I'll show you where, and I want people to make special. We put these results out in a pretty down day today. These were very, very substantial, game-changing drill hole that was drilled just underneath the Sui where the mining stopped, and you can see the section here. More to be followed up on here, but when you start drilling a new type of mineralization, never touched, never drilled into, never saw, where you're starting to see 22 meters of 400 grams and 12 meters, almost 700 on one drill hole, and you miss the vein, yeah, that's a game changer. Everybody should be paying attention to that. Full stop. I'm not saying game changer. I'm a securities lawyer. I'm a pretty good salesman. That's our technical team. That I wasn't on the phone when the result came out for 1 second, and they were all saying, this is a game changer. And we've had some pretty good results. So for them to say that, they don't say it lightly. That's, I think, answering that question. I've repeated what I said already earlier in the presentation. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. What's your current budget? How many meters do you plan to drill? And when might you announce the resource estimate and PEA?
Well, that's a very good question. You know, I said we have about 6 million. Yeah, about 6 million, maybe a little shy of it now. I haven't paid attention lately, but I'm going to bring the map up. It always comes back to a map, it seems to, on these things. And let's use this one. It's as good as any. You know, what we drilled, think about this. This is how fast you can drill. Great drill team. We love the company we're using. Those 3 drills, recovery is almost 100%. Very fast drillers with good recovery. You can't ask for more. I would say that, and don't quote me on the number, but we phased those 3 drills into the north. And of course, we drilled that one last hole down here. We drilled about 8,000 meters, and that was with one drill coming September 15th, one on October 15th, one on November. A good 3 drill program, I think you could probably milk in 3 months, 12,000 meters out of that. And so with 3 drill rigs, I'm going to increase that, but let's just say, let's look for the next 10,000 meters in the quarter we're in right now. I think what you should know is that they're going to be focused on the Benjamin. This is a high priority target right now with 2 drill rigs immediately started there when we saw the results. And when that 4th one, we're going to get back up here and start exploring again to the north. That's what you're going to see. But people have to understand where the mountain takes you. Did I expect that before the end of the year we'd be back here with a hole? Probably not. Did I expect we'd find a new Benjamin vein? Probably not. So this mountain will steer us where those 10 to 12,000 meters go. But right now, it's taken us here for the next foreseeable month or 2. Money, we're always about $215 USD a meter, so you can do your own math. That is basically everything. The driller maybe 105, your team on the mountain camp, etc. The geologists that are logging and getting the core ready to get off the mountain, being on the drill, the support staff, 50 to 60, and then 40 meters getting it off the mountain to get it assayed. So 225 USD times meters. That's usually what we've seen. We drilled, I think we're getting up on 2 million meters over our 25 years now. So we've got a little experience on costing on that too. Hopefully that helps, that answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Glenn, a little bit forward looking, but at what price do you expect the next raise?
I'm sorry, I forgot, David. PEA question. There was a lot of pieces of that. Look, you know, I told you what we do. We've already delivered the first 43-101. first pass Tiger vein, 1,000,000 ounces, no economics with it. We will, and I'd like, look, if I get banging with 3 drills here, can I, by the end of the year, get a new 43-101, some ounces come down from here with a PEA? Yeah, but I think I don't want to box myself in. I'd say we're really going to be talking about that about 1 year from now, and you're going to see those ounces way up. You're going to see that pit, we think it'll end up being, 2 to 1-ish. It's a dip slope deposit. These are guesses. But you got to remember what comes at you, too, is when we were thinking about that 2 weeks ago, we didn't have that. Right? So it just changes so fast. So stay tuned. Rest assured, everybody knows who we are in Halifax. All we ever do is drill off ounces and publish reports. PEA, pre-fees. That's where we're going with this. It will happen.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. This question's a little bit forward-looking, but at what price do you expect to do the next raise and to be at when you go to market next? So.
Well, I don't think I can answer that. Look, we have been very patient, and I don't want to talk at a school. I've had more money offered in December or in multiple times in January. So, we have money in the bank. We are going in the right direction with valuation. I raised my last money at 30 cents. That was only in August. That seems like so long ago. And we've done more than we could have thought, especially with these new discoveries. We knew what we'd get to the north, what we saw to drill Paleoprotectora. So I love where our share price is going. Today is just a weird day. The last couple of days, this has got to get flushed and back to what we love: fundamentals. Good silver price, $25, $26 silver price. It's fantastic. It's going to go up, I think. It's fantastic. And then do what we do, and we're just going to be fine. And I've got money to spend, so I'm not rushing to go raise any money right now. I've got $6 to make. Nice time to have it.
Last 2 questions up. I'll sort of put them together. Any indication as to the orientation of this new discovery? And are there areas where there are mainly silver-rich veins versus gold-rich veins, and what do you prefer?
Well, it's clear in the history that El Tigre was a silver mine. There's always silver and gold in these projects in Mexico, but I think I've showed you. You asked what we have here. We have what we always thought we had was, and I'm just going to go back to that section. I think it's so easy to explain it on. Let's use this one. What we have is, this is the deposit over those 6 kilometers, same layers. You have super high-grade silver veins, quartz veins, 80% silver. That's across the project. You then have, in the first 100 meters, gold dissemination. That's why we drilled off the pit at the old mine when the veins were gone. And we'll do that again to the north. You have your silver and your gold. Most of this is all gold. Most of the vein is silver. Now, when you go underground like the old timers did after the first 100 meters, and they went down to 450, they just go after that super high-grade silver vein, which goes to great depth. That's what we had until we had this. And then we were testing underneath where the mining stopped at 150, that's super high grade. The old timers took that, as you call. Silver vein, mostly silver, quartz vein, and then we missed it. We'll get it when we get a little deeper. And we drilled into this. And this is a new animal because this is that new flat formation sponge that took up gold, silver, and if you go look at that press release, a lot of base metals. So yeah, that's newly evolving, and we just love one thing: metals. So I'm not going to play a favorite, but we do have a lot of silver. This was a silver mine, and actually the way it evolved, 1896, Gold Hill was basically a little history lesson here. They found in a different part of the system gold. So that was called Gold Hill, but they were only there 4 or 5 years when they realized that the El Tigre mine, which it became, the 70 million silver equivalent ounces they took out of it at over 2 kilos, well over 2 kilos, it was a silver mine. So there's lots of gold here too, and we have both, but it is a true silver mine.
Great is king. Okay, Glenn, Silver Tiger, thank you very much for joining us today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Reminder that Red Cloud Securities will be back tomorrow afternoon. Jacob Willoughby is going to sit down with Galleon Gold. That's February 3rd at 2 p.m. Eastern. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to hear about El Tigre.